Hey, what's going on? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Don't mind my scratchy voice right now. It's gonna keep doing that. Where I live, the weather is getting crazy. It's 60 degrees one day and then 20 to 30 degrees the next day. So hopefully I'm not coming down with anything, just hopefully. But I wanna come to you quick with an exercise. It's actually a pretty intricate exercise, so stay tuned. So this is more of an arpeggiated exercise using triads. And the way that I came about this is I was playing in the key of E flat, just kind of noodling in the key of E flat major. And if you play a 4-string and you tune standard, E is your lowest note. And I don't tune down. I try not to. Just personal preference, doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want to do. So I'm tuned standard, playing an E. I was trying to play an E flat triad. So instead of starting there, I said, let me start on the next note of that E flat triad, which would be a G. So that's my lowest note that I can possibly have in an E flat major triad, playing a 4-string. So I said, let me start there and then work my way up from there. So I started on the G, then the 5th note, or the 5th note of that scale, the 2nd note of the triad. So first of all, let's go over the triad. We have E flat, G, and then B flat, right? So we have G, since we're starting on the 2nd note, B flat will be the next note, and then the 3rd note will be actually our root. So we're not starting on the root, we're starting on the 3rd. So we have, so that's the way I played it. So I wanted to keep going with it. So that's just your 2-octave triad. We've done that before. I don't want to go too far in depth with it. So 1, 4, shift, 2nd finger, 2, 1, 4, 4. Stay right there. Okay, so when I did that, okay, great. That exercise felt good. Ending on that 3rd note, ending on the 3. It sounded a little weird, but I like the way it sounded. So I had to figure out a way to create this to be an exercise. So and I noticed that the number of notes really didn't fit inside. It didn't really feel good. Like I couldn't put the metronome on a 4/4 metronome and actually make it feel good. So 1, 2, I'll show you what I mean. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It started on a different note. I couldn't get it to start on the 1. So I said, let me add a note in there to be able to make it start on the 1, on the downbeat. So, and that ended up working. So all I added was the 7th note of the scale, of the major scale, the E flat major scale. The 7th note will be D. So I'm not technically playing the triads continuously the whole time. I'm adding that 1 note in there just to fill it in, okay? So we have 1. So I can count that. I can either do a 6/8 type of thing or 4 slow 4/4, but whatever way you think about it, it started to feel a little bit better. So I added that in my exercise. So all it is adding that D at the end of the triad exercise. So you go back. When you go back down, you do the same exact thing. So you hit the D again, the high D again, right? Coming back down. And that shifting is a little weird. I'm not going to tell you you should shift a certain way. It's a lot of SH sounds. Shift a certain way, but I'll show you the way that I do it. It's probably the worst way possible, but it feels good to me. You know, it feels good to me. So whatever works for you. So I do 1, 4, shift. No, I don't. I do 1, 4, 4. Then I shift with my 1st finger to the G, and that's the weirdest shift ever. So I either do 1, 4, 4, shift down to the G, or I do 1, 4, 2, like we originally did it. It depends on how I'm feeling. And I keep going 4, and then 3, 4 for the 7th note, and then the octave. On the way back down is a little bit. I do a weird shift there too, but it feels good to me. I did it. I've done it for so long. It feels natural now. I shifted all the way from my 1st finger to my 4th finger. You see what I mean? Weird, but it gets the job done. So if you guys wanted to count this off, you can either do a 3/4 or a 6/8, depending on which way you look at it. So you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Or let me slow it down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's the way that you would count that. So I wanted to make it fit inside of that normal feeling 6/8 type of groove, or 3/4, whichever way you look at it. I wanted it to be able to fit inside of that. So I just altered the exercise just a little bit, just to add that one note. Another thing that you can do is you can add a note somewhere else. So what I did was I added a note. I added the D, the lower D instead of the higher D. So see what I mean? So it's the same exact note that I'm adding in there, but I'm adding it in a different spot. So do do da da do 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 do, and then not playing the higher D at the top. So see what I mean? So do da da. So I'm doing 1/4 shift, 1 2 1 4 1 1 4 4, right? And it was tough to be able to switch back and forth from that thinking of doing that exercise, from adding the D in the beginning versus adding it at the end, right? It's even hard now. So hopefully you guys get the gist of that. It's a nice little exercise, nice little shifting, triad, arpeggiated type of exercise that you guys can move around, move it in circle of fourths. I've talked about the way that you can actually maximize the way that you practice and move this around chromatically. Moving around chromatically, I need to practice it a little bit more, obviously. But switching back and forth between the two, it rattles your brain. So it's a great exercise mentally and physically. So take it slow, make sure your notes are coming out clean, clear, and precise, and I'll see you guys in the next one.